The SIE exam is a difficult exam, but in this video, I'm going to share with you how I passed it on the first try with only 2 days of exam prep. Hey guys, I am Tony, and if you are watching this video, you're probably thinking about taking the SIE exam or maybe even cramming for it at the last minute. I want to share with you my story, my experience in prepping for the SIE exam, and maybe you will find it helpful. A little background about me: if this is your first time here on the channel, I do not work in the securities industry. I haven't even taken an exam in about 30 years since I went to college. I have a major in economics and my minor was in finance and banking. I have been a stock and option trader for about the last 30 years and covering the finance sector here on YouTube for about the past 2 years. As I said in the beginning, I'm going to cover in this video my exam prep, what mistakes I made, what recommendations I would make to you, what I would do different. If you want to know more in detail what is on the test, check the link above or in the video description for my video I did last week covering what to expect on the test. The recommended prep time for the SIE exam is 100 hours, and for most people that is going to be what it takes. If you do have some experience trading or in the securities industry, an accounting or finance background, you can substantially cut that prep time. If you're going to be taking the SIE exam, I definitely think it is worth it to pay for the test prep, and I got a link down in the video description of one that I am currently recommending. In my case, I bought a book and I do not recommend this one to anyone. Again, check the link down in the video description for what I am recommending now, having gone through the process. I read that darn book and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be so easy. I can just put it off to the last minute. And sure, that's what I did. I scheduled my exam for a Monday at noon, and I started prepping on Saturday morning by reading the book. It took me half a day to read the book, and then I took the 2 practice exams in the book and one on the FINRA website. You have 1 hour and 45 minutes to take the actual exam, and as I was taking the practice tests, I was finishing them in 35 minutes, but I was realizing half the questions on the exam weren't even covered in the book. What the heck is going on? What I came to realize from taking those 3 practice exams, even though I passed all 3 of them in only 35 minutes, after reviewing all of the questions, and especially the ones that I missed, I came to realize that no book is going to be enough to teach you. You're going to need to rely on some financial background, accounting or finance, or you're going to need to prep for it in your 100 hours of prep. That's why I say if you've got some accounting or finance background, if you are intimately familiar with how balance sheets, income statements, and statement of cash flows work, if you know how to calculate things like return on equity, return on assets, you are ahead of the game and a couple hours of your prep time can be cut. If you have some trading experience and you know in detail exactly how forward and reverse stock splits work, the entire details of how dividends work and how options trading works, that can also cut some hours off of your test prep, but it's not going to be enough. And even if you have all of those areas really buckled down tight, there are all of the other areas of the test that you need to master. So let's talk about a few tips and strategies. The first strategy obviously is allow yourself enough time to properly prepare for this exam. I do not recommend that somebody try and do it in 2 days like I did unless you have a ton of experience. A couple hours a day of reading over a course of 2 weeks is probably the minimum that I would recommend for most people. Try and get through that material as quickly as you can and then start taking some practice exams and see what your weak areas are. The SIE exam has a bank of over 4,000 potential questions, even though you're only going to be tested on 75. There is a lot of details, and practice exams are really what are going to get you over the finish line. If you can consistently take 3 or 4 practice exams and pass them, then you're probably ready to take your SIE exam. If you're not passing those practice exams, you're going to need to put in additional hours of prep time. Achievable is the company that I recommend for test prep, and there is a link down in the video description. Please check that out. Sign up on Achievable. Let me tell you why, after having gone through the process, I wish that I would have used Achievable. To begin with, any material that is in any other competitor's books is included in Achievable's online study guide. The second item is they have an online community, and if there is anything in particular that you are having problems with, it sure is nice to have people going through the process or that went through the process that you can touch base with and have questions answered almost in real time. The third reason that I like Achievable is they have 25 practice exams that you can take. And it doesn't matter which prep service or book that you use, at the end of the day, it is the practice exams that are going to make the difference of getting you over the finish line on your first try. The minutia of details and regulations, the tricky way that questions are worded, you cannot learn that from a book. You can only learn it by taking a real life type practice exam. Take as many as you need. You've got 25 with Achievable, and when you're consistently getting a passing score on test after test, you can comfortably and calmly go into your SIE exam knowing that you're probably going to pass it on the first try. The fourth reason is they have a money-back guarantee that you will pass the SIE exam on your first attempt. No, this video is not paid or sponsored by Achievable. Let me tell you how I came to find them though. There is another content creator on YouTube, Ken over at Capital Advantage Tutoring, who I talked to. I gave him a phone call after I took my exam, and I was able to pass it on the first try through brute force. And I said, hey, Ken, I was not really happy with the Mometrics book. I asked Ken, what do you think about Mometrics? Who do you recommend? And he said, yeah, Mometrics, maybe not the best. Check out Achievable. And so after I took the exam and before I made this video for you guys, I went in and did a deep dive on Achievable. And then, only then did I find all of the key things that I wish I would have had access to if I was doing this for the very first time. By the way, give Ken a sub over at Capital Advantage Tutoring. He's got a great playlist of in-depth material that you might find helpful in prepping for your SIE exam. At the end of the day though, guys, I think it is about practice test, taking as many as you can, studying your weak areas, figuring out what you missed on that exam, and then doing a deeper dive into that material or into the regulations that make up those practice questions. To wrap things up, can you ace this test with just 1 week of prep? Maybe, depending on your education, your background, your experience. For most people, I think 100 hours is going to be adequate. And try and get your studying done in the first week, and then in your second week, take as many practice exams as you need to see what your weak areas are. Go back and review the material, dive into those regulations. There are dozens and dozens that are covered in this exam, and it is impossible for any book or test prep company to cover the level of detail of those questions in your prep material. You might need to read some regulations and then take some more practice exams or understand why you missed the questions that you didn't get correct. I am always here to answer whatever questions you have. Drop me a comment down below, and if I can help you, I am certainly happy to do that as well. I am Tony DeNaro. Don't forget to buy and hold that subscribe button. If this is your first time here, I'm probably going to put some other content out for you on the SIE exam over the coming weeks and months. Hit the like button if you got value out of this content, and as always, I will see you on the next video.